Hi guys, Paul Ribbons here. Now I hope you had a great day on the Find It, Fund It, Flip It day. I had a fantastic time. But as I promised you, I would do the 12 task video because sometimes you can learn something intellectually, i.e. out of a book or a classroom, but you don't know it experientially. And this will help you with the experiential side. And I equate it to driving in a way. If you can imagine trying to drive a car after reading the manual and then going to physically do it, it's a different kettle of fish. So this will cement the learnings that you had on the effing day. And here we're going to start with the 12 tasks. So do you remember what the first task was? Establish demand in your area. So pick a postcode, tap it into Rightmove, include sole subject contract, see what comes up, see what number it is. Then take off the tick for sole subject contract and then redo the results, and you take one away from the other or divide it, and that gives you a percentage. Now you're looking for a roughly 20% sold minimum. If you've got less than 20%, that's not really strong demand. Now we are seeing certain areas, certainly down south, where we're getting 60% sold or more than that. So that's a great area to invest in, but you want a minimum of 20%. Now once you've done that, you move on to task 2, and that's to, remember I said to you, you can get an EIG subscription, you can get a trial period, but use that trial period to search your postcode to see if properties are sold in your area in auction. Now if there's not many that have sold, be a bit wary, because you want to make sure you're going to an area where the market is driving the prices. The market, do you remember what I mentioned on the day? Know your market and feed it. And then follow that up by speaking to an auctioneer, which is task 3. Speak to an auctioneer. Now they're going to be a bit frosty, they're going to say anything sells, but just say, what's the most popular lots that you get in your auction? Are they 2 and 3 bed houses, or the bungalows or flats? Quote each one, because he'll say, oh, well, bungalows okay, flats are okay, houses are really, they really fly off the shelves. So you just want to establish what's selling. And once you've got all that information out of them 3, then that leads on to step 4, which is setting your criteria, which is vital for the next stage. Now so you know, my criteria is 2 and 3 bedroom terraced or end of terraced houses in the Medway areas or in the Dartford areas or the Maidstone areas, but they're always usually up to about £100,000. They're the things I'm looking for. It's easier to find them when you've set the criteria. So once you've set your criteria, I want you to search and identify properties on Rightmove using that search criteria, 2 and 3 bed houses. Always search at the bottom, because you're not looking at £1 million houses, you're looking at the cheaper end, because that's usually what your market wants. But obviously you must check that first. So once you start looking, I want you to find something that you could possibly work on. Something that meets the criteria that's maybe sold or for sale. When you say the green sticker, we ignore that, don't we? So find something to work on. And then you want to make an appointment. Now if it's for sale, which is good, because you make an appointment to view it. So try and get a viewing on the property. So try and pick one that's actually for sale so you can have a look at it. So that's task number 6, is the viewing. Because remember, when we go to the viewing, we want to try and gain control. We want to find out the circumstances, find out the timing, find out the leverage. It's in your workbooks. Don't forget to ask certain questions. And what we're looking at is location, position and environment. We want to get a good feel about that particular property. And once you've done that, then we move on to task 7. Now task 7 is due diligence, because if it meets the criteria, because this time we're ignoring the asking price, looking at the criteria, we start to do the due diligence. Now remember what we did? We looked at what's for sale in the area, how long it's been for sale for, what's gone under offer recently, how long did it take to go under offer. We looked at sold prices on Rightmove to see what had completed recently, and we looked on the EI group website to see properties in that location to see what they've been selling for an auction. So we set a price and get a good idea. Okay, so this is really just giving you a test run before you actually get into the nitty-gritty of actually buying something. And then I mentioned about the agent attractor. Do you remember what the agent attractor was? Which was the blanket email to all agents. So your search criteria is say ME7. You click in the sole subject contracts, you click on find properties, and then you'll have a number at the top. Now make sure that number's not over 1,000, otherwise the green box won't come up below. So it's under 1,000, you scroll right down to the bottom and you'll see a box, one email to all. And don't forget what we put in there. It's in the workbooks: dirty, smelly, stinky houses, flea pits required, their speciality, sticky carpets welcome. These sort of things you want to put in there. Use your own words if you want, but don't forget, use capital letters, exclamation marks. You need your email in the agent's office to stand out, because the dynamics change when they call you. So once we've done that, we've done the agent attractor, it's task 9. Now task 9 is anchoring. Do you remember what you talked about anchoring? So while you're talking to an agent, just describe the sort of houses that you like, dirty, smelly ones, the flea pits, they start scratching. When you go into a house and you stick on the carpets and it's like the greasy kitchen, it's horrible, it stinks. And then once you've got to that point, you think of Paul Ribbons. Obviously not my name, use your name, but say your name, and that anchors into that person your name, so when they go into the next property like that, they'll think of you first. And then we go into task 10, which is pick an auctioneer. Pick an auctioneer locally. This is not for selling, this is just to look at the process of the auction. So pick a local auctioneer, find out where the next auction is, get a catalogue, and then using the criteria that you've set earlier on through task 1 to 4, you want a view of property that meets your criteria. Now, it might not be the right location, so you might be, don't be rigid on this, but you want something that certainly meets the criteria as far as the unit's concerned and the price is concerned. You might have to go to a different area, because auctions are only available as and when they come up, i.e. a property comes up for auction. If you haven't got one in your area, don't let that hold you back. Just pick one in a slightly different area, or an area that you might well consider. And the idea is that you want to go and view that property. So you want to go and view that particular property, get a feel for it, and then use the information that you've already learned to try and gauge the price it will sell for, to establish the selling price using the tools that we've showed you with the due diligence. Because we want to try and establish what they're selling for in auction, make it so it becomes second nature for you, as opposed to you having to rely on somebody else. So they're the 12 tasks. Don't forget, run through these. You can't come on my little day in the office until you've done this, because there's a reason for that, is that I need you to have gone through that process first. I look forward to seeing you very soon. Thanks ever so much.